Welcome back. The Wii originally came out in 2006. It was a great year. There was a lot of stuff going on. Good year for gaming. I didn't get my Wii until 2007. I was 5 years old. That is crazy to think about. 5 years old and getting a Wii, that was so cool. And it was 2007. Dude, we're 4 years away from that being 20 years ago. That is just not comfortable for me mentally. You know, a lot of existential and impending dread sort of feelings thinking about that. It's really insane. But the Wii was one of my first consoles I could truly say that was mine. You know, I loved it, I abused it, and I played on that thing for years. Until I got an Xbox 360, and that fucker got dropped so hard and so fast. But as of recently, with all my hacking and homebrewing and such with all these other consoles, I thought, hey, let's dig out the old Wii and really take a look at what this thing can do today. Let's see what the homebrew and hacking scene is like for this device. Let's really dig our claws into this and see what we can do. And I was shocked when I found out you could do a lot with this. It's kind of insane. To start, there was not a whole lot in terms of emulation power I was really hoping to get out of this. I knew it could pretty obviously play all the emulators, you know, basically from like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, original Nintendo, stuff like that. That era, it obviously could do that. But it did. GameCube was obviously something you could natively do. Wii was native, but N64 was a little quirky. It's just a little scuff, you know. It just doesn't make any sense why it had such a bad time. But not every game runs like that. Like Mario 64, perfect. But something like a Wave Race or Conker's Bad Fur Day, and even sometimes Mario Kart 64, depending on the map. It was a really strange experience. I wasn't expecting it to be so janky. And I think that's okay. DS emulation was not going to happen. I was pretty okay with that not being the case because it's just playing DS games on like my TV felt really weird. And I wouldn't even say it was bad necessarily. It was just awkward, you know? It just nothing fit right. Like, you can make it work on a phone or make it work on any of these other like portable handheld devices or even on a monitor just because you're so much closer. It just felt like there was so much distance between me and the content, you know? The size of the icon didn't feel right being on such a big screen. It just felt like so much space was taken up by the UI elements, which would make sense if this was on a very small, like 2-3 inch screen on a DS, but blown up to a 55-inch TV, it's kind of distracting how big some of the UI elements in like Pokemon games used to be. But there is some very awesome like homebrew stuff. Something I truly played copious amounts of was CTGPR, Mario Kart Wii thing. Yeah, it's a very long acronym that I won't get into, but I'll leave a link in the description for a more clear what I'm talking about. This homebrew or hack or whatever you want to call it adds like 200 plus more Mario Kart Wii tracks, and it was so fun. I loved having so many more tracks to play because Mario Kart Wii was one of the games I played the most on my Wii, especially with, you know, family and relatives, and cracking out the Wii and saying, hey, I got this awesome thing for the Wii, and hooked it up for the family, and we all played out in the living room like it was the old times. It was really, really fun. And they were all like, oh, when did we get new maps? Or like, did the new thing come out? I'm like, no, this is the community. This is the homebrew. I hacked this onto the Wii because they don't understand the difference. And they were like, whoa, that's very cool. And they pretended to be impressed before we got to gaming. But something arguably more impressive that I loved exponentially more, me, my brother, and my sister all really like Smash Brothers. And we always wanted a bunch of characters in Smash Brothers. We'd all talk about it. We'd all sit and, you know, like, talk about what is the most wanted characters in Smash Brothers. So, when I discovered Super Smash Brothers Universe, I was like, oh my god, this is dumb. This is really dumb. You can get Among Us. You can get everyone. You know when we all were talking about, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate being like, oh, everyone's here. Everyone we could ever want is here. They're all here. Well, fuck me, man. There's a lot of people in Super Smash Brothers universe. Literally everyone's there. Among Us is there. Your favorite Nintendo character, Among Us. It's really, really dumb. There's so many characters in it. For some unholy reason, they decided to make Metal Luigi its own character. Just Boo from Mario Brothers. Even crazier ones that weren't ever in the game, like Dark Link. Freaking Vati from Legend of Zelda. Like, there's all sorts of crazy characters in this, weird ROM hack DLC situation. Characters that were supposed to be in the game. Like Roy never made it. Villager never made it. Like, so many characters that are now in Smash Brothers are in this. Freaking Dr. Eggman's in the game. Like, what the heck? Mega Man X, not normal Mega Man. Mega Man is in the game, but they also have Mega Man X, which is cool because I always liked Mega Man X more than normal Mega Man. Freaking Rayman and Banjo and freaking Crash Bandicoot. Not the good Crash Bandicoot. It's the one from not Twinsanity. Crash the Titans. The one that's like really short and kind of weird, and they got like the smaller face and not the big face. It was a bad game, is what I'm saying. And there's just a list of so many fan favorite characters. It even has anti-Sora. The black smoky Sora that was, you could turn it in like the darkness Sora, the one you could turn into in Kingdom Hearts 2 when you use up all your MP and then you try to use your dry forms and then you just turn into that. It's so cool. It's one of my favorite characters to play as. That's right. Even in Ultimate, I'm a shitty little Kingdom Hearts Sora main. Fuck you. But that was so fun. It brought so much life back to my Wii. It is now a permanent fixture in my setup. Not only because of all these super fun homebrew and ROM hacks and stuff, but it is arguably one of the more easier and more fun experiences to play native Wii and GameCube games on. With USB Loader GX, you can play any game from the Wii and the GameCube. You just put the ROMs on it, you pop that shit into the Wii open USB loader, and then hopefully it should see all your games. It is insane how easy this was and how fucking annoying it was on top of that. Like, Jesus Christ. Sometimes you gotta be so specific in the kind of file you download. It is really tough. I can't tell you how many times I had to re-download New Super Mario Bros. For Wii several times from so many different websites, all because I couldn't find the right file for it to be happy with. And I would get, I followed the guide. I got the specific file types that it was okay with, and it never showed up. It just never showed up. Some games worked that shouldn't have, like Call of Duty for the Wii. I think it was like Modern Warfare or something that for the Wii that I wanted to try, and I tried booting it up. Was expecting it to work, and it sort of worked. I got all the way to the title screen, so hit the start the campaign button, and I started it, and it got halfway through the intro cinematic before it just decided to die. But that one I wasn't expecting to work. It had a weird file size, limitation. Wii games have to be, it can't be bigger than 4, and this one was 4.12. So technically it exceeded the file size limit, and it needed to be broken up into 2 files or something. That was a pain in the butt to figure out for, Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Wii. That was a pain in my ass, but I figured it out. There's this helpful little app you can download for your computer to, divide the files and properly, format them and stuff. I'll leave that linked in the description. It is a super useful tool. But all in all, this was a fairly easy thing to do. Because the Wii is so far out from its support, it's broaching 20 years old. It's crazy to think. The Wii originally came out in 2006. This thing is so closer to 20 plus years old than it is to 15. It's crazy. Just time, it's a bitch. And it's crazy to think that I'm getting to that point in my life that where my dad was, where my uncle was, where they were looking back at their childhood in the early 2000s, you know, in their later 20s, looking back and like, I remember when I had my Nintendo. And so they started recollecting. They started amassing a dragon's hoard of vintage tech. And I got to live that vicariously through that. Like, I got to be able to play all these vintage systems because of my parents feeling the same nostalgia that I do now for my childhood. And it's arguably even, like, we're entering, I can't say I've seen this in a while, but like, we were in a time period where the Wii was so cheap, and considering it was one of Nintendo's highest selling consoles of all time, they're everywhere. For Christ's sake, I went to Goodwill. I saw a stack of like 16 Wiis selling for $20 a pop, and they were all GameCube Wiis, all with their stands. Not all of them had cords and stuff, not all of them had controllers, but it was just a stack of Wiis, $20 each. Doesn't matter what it came with, it's gonna be $20. And right next to it was not even like locked up in the cage, this was just sitting next to the kiosk, just a stack of Wii balance boards for like $10 a pop, depending on how the condition. You know, there were some very yellow ones, there were some pretty nice ones, there were some that were broken in half a little bit because of somebody of larger size and caloric temperament was standing on it. And it was just kind of blowing my mind that I can still walk into that Goodwill and there's probably a few Wiis still left. There was so many Wiis, and I don't understand why. And the Wii is so cheap, and I honestly, if all you want is like a really quality experience, and you can get one of those HDMI adapters and stuff, you can put it through like a FrameMeister or an OWC, and really like upscale that shit and it look really nice. You can have a wonderful experience doing most of your retro gaming on a Wii. Fun, like, it's just really strange, you know, it's that you can do all this on a Wii. You can even unlock the drive, the DVD drive in it to play games. Not only to play games, but you can unlock it to play movies. You can get a file explorer. It's crazy. You could do so much with your Wii that I'm not even covering because you can even unlock the Wi-Fi. You can bring back online services to the Wii. It's insane. I didn't do it because I don't really want to play any of these games online, but it's something you can do. The Wii homebrew community is such a vibrant, such a thriving community that I wasn't expecting to find. Because, like, it's the fucking Wii. Who wants to homebrew? It's so annoying. It seemed really annoying to do so. And the only devices I've ever hacked have been handheld devices. Not Wii's. PSPs, Vitas, and 3DSs alike. You know, even iPhones back in the day with jailbreaking. Like, I was one of those kids in school who had a jailbroken iPhone. Well, I didn't have an iPhone. It was an iPod, but it's close enough. And so it was just such a new experience that I wasn't expecting to feel so familiar and so easy. Like, if you have a Wii, go do this. You can get a 64 gigabyte USB drive off of Amazon for like $6. Like, and that's all you need to do this. Like, you don't need every single Wii and GameCube game under the sun. Just get the classics, get the hits. 64 gigs for like less than $9 for a USB drive to hack the Wii. It's it's amazing. It's truly an amazing experience, and it's something I highly recommend. And you should super hack your Wii. Like, the Wii has never been such a tremendous value in 2023. And I wish I had easy access to a Wii U to hack those, because that seems even cooler to me to hack. Just because it's more powerful and the games access, you can easily put Wii and GameCube games on that and have a much larger library of games to play on it. It looks like a wonderful experience. And it's truly amazing that this community has thrived for such a long time. I highly recommend you hack your Wii, especially given in 2023 when there's so many options out there. I think this is a really compelling and just a fun side project to do. I highly recommend this to everyone. So what are your thoughts? Is there anything I should check out on my modded Wii? Is there anything that I missed that I should have, addressed a bit more on this video? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and all that other social media garbage down below, and have a wonderful day.